Sound good?
Is there like theme music that goes along with this? Because we could. Greg has a guitar. He could just like start strumming.
Hey, that would be perfect because we currently do not have a theme song. So Greg, if you want to go ahead, go ham real fast.
Greg, pull offs and hammer-ons and sweepers and stuff.
Yeah, right. Too funny. Silly,
And
silly boys.
that's the intro. Yep, we're switching it up from nothing to just straight spoken word. Very poetic.
That sounds rad. We're glad
Sounds
to be
right.
here.
Anyway, so let's get the hype up. Let's start getting it going. Woo! Welcome to Babetalk. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Babetalk, and we're gonna have fun with one gone thus. Sup?
Sup?
Hi.
Hello, I have Ryan and Greg from the duo, which is very cool. They're very fresh on the scene. They're going to be releasing a new album tomorrow, which is called, and I'm very illiterate, so I've been looking at this name all day just so I don't screw it up at all, which is Impermanence?
Impermanence, yes, the Impermanence.
Yeah, Impermanence. I did it. Thank God. Funny story. I was looking at this EP, and there was a time in which I thought I was hot shit, and there was a festival that was going along the Garden State area called the Pinelands Music Festival. Very cool. They're going to have their second year coming up very shortly. They're going to be making announcements. Start to look up information for that. But one of the stage managers was like, "Hey, you said you run a music site and you're a podcast host." I'm like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Oh, like, do you want to do announcements?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And you, me, and everyone we know was going up next. And stupid me got so like hyped up. I was like making all the vendor announcements. I was like, "Yeah, we got vendors over here. We got like special things going out over there." And like now, ladies and gentlemen, like you, me, and everyone you know. And then like I froze, and I was like, "That's not the right name. That's not the right name. That's not the right name." And then I walked off stage, and the stage manager was like, looked at me. He was like, "It's all right, man." I was like, "The fact you had to say that means that I'll never come to this festival ever again."
Oh, man.
I even made that jackass announcement, like, "Hey, I'm Ollie from Babe Talk." I sounded like a morning DJ host. I was like, never again will I show my face anywhere. But anyway, this isn't about me. It's about you guys. So, hey, howdy. How's everyone going today?
Good, good.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Absolutely. Anytime. Anytime. But we do start the show with asking our guests how they're doing on a longer scale. I'm gonna ask you guys about how your past few weeks were, past few months were, anything that brought you joy recently. So I'm gonna first open the question to Ryan. How was your past few whenever?
It's been good. I recently started back in school, so that's kind of been my main focus. Aside from doing this, which has been my main focus, and then that just ended a couple weeks ago. Been doing just promotion as much as we can, just trying to organically build whatever audience and network and connections that we can. And that's basically been it since I got out of school. It's wake up in the morning, check Twitter, check Instagram, check Facebook, check every social media, go on Reddit, go on 4chan, Jesus, anywhere that I can.
Whoa, what is 4chan still a thing? We're in 2016. You can't just drop that without anyone saying anything.
There's still a bunch of sexual deviants out there, so but they're an audience, so you have to be able to reach out to them. But no.
Oh wow, wait, so you promote to 4chan?
With any of the sites, not really. I'm more on Reddit because 4chan is pretty like much of a it's like a rat's nest in there. So
oh yeah.
Reddit is the big one. A couple of years ago, before this project, we were doing another thing, and Reddit was like becoming a really integral part. So we doing this, it was like, well, we need to hit it up again. So we've been probably oversaturating the post-hardcore subreddit and all the independent music scenes, and it's cool. But yeah, it's a really good way to connect with people. Like honestly, it's the weirdest thing. One of the bands that we didn't even know, they're a new up and coming thing from Nevada, and we met them on Instagram, and then I saw them on Facebook, and then I saw them on Reddit, and then it just went back and forth, and now we like talk all the time about, because we're doing like the same thing. So it's kind of
nice. That's very cool.
So, being able to build those connections is kind of it's part and parcel with the DIY thing. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So whatever.
that you also incorporate Reddit, because I don't think a lot of kids actually know Reddit just yet.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and it's been around for a long while, and they have like one of the strongest communities that I've ever seen, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot. I go on there for more than just music. I go on there for like daily news and stuff, but also producing music and stuff like that. There's a lot of subreddits about mixing and mastering and plugins and all this kind of stuff. So like the technical, logistical side of making music, there's a lot that I take away from it. So, and then we have our little band thing on there. We just do promotion and stuff too. But that's
Nice,
that's my past couple weeks really. So looking forward to
that's fun. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, what did you study in school?
I am currently studying economics, which is a little weird, but I originally studied music industry studies, which was focused on music production, which is why we are essentially self-producers, because me and Greg Greg too. I mean, we both sit at our computers respectively, because he's in San Jose and I'm in like outside of LA right now, and we just send each other tracks, and then we'll meet up every once in a while and work out the details, and then I just sit here and mix, and then that's it. It's the name of the game, really. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very impressive. It's like, of course, you'll see a lot of kids that put a lot of. I'm very sorry. Give me 1 second, because I am hearing a huge echo, and I'm going to try and fix it really quick. One of the things I said before with having a online show is on, because Google hates us. But I'm pretty sure I fixed it.
Cool.
But anyway, try and power through it. I know what my voice sounds like. Anyway, but yeah, like there's still a level of high experience, high knowledge that goes into self-producing, and I know a lot of kids, like, they aspire for it, but they it's not really fall short, but it's very tough to get into.
Yeah, I think Greg can probably attest to, like, I think Greg has more experience when it comes to playing than anybody I really know. Like, well, maybe there's a couple of people, but he definitely more than me. But I was fortunate enough, like, early on in my career when I was at school studying production, was to get in and work with some up-and-coming producers who were doing really cool things, and I just got to kind of tread on the tailcoats of the people who were moving forward. And this was like a couple years ago. It was really cool. I got to work with like some really dope stuff. I got to work with on like Set Your Goals, like not anything big, but like doing like editing and some mixing for them, and like Breathe Carolina, so like Fearless bands and Rise bands and all that stuff.
Oh wow!
And it was just kind of what got me like my that was me just getting my feet wet, and then from there on. But I never really cared about, like, everybody was like, yeah, you have to become a producer, you have to find bands, you have to go out and do all that stuff. But the entire time that I was doing that, I was like, I just want to produce my music. I just want to make music that I'm a musician, I'm an artist. Like, I'm not a recording engineer, really. I'm not a producer. I don't do well with other people. Greg can probably attest to that.
You don't even do well when there's more than a few people in the band. It's like, all right, everybody, just leave me alone. I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, so one of the benefits of doing this whole thing, on our own independently, has been the fact that it afforded us time and a luxury that bands do not get, musicians do not get. It's been great, and it gave us this opportunity to explore as much as we wanted. We have things that we have plans for the future, but because we have so much, like, on the back burner right now, there's so much that we have content-wise. This was just, we need to get out there. We need to, get our feet wet. And this is our first foray into being a band, kind of, and doing it on this like level of seriousness, if you can call it serious. For not touring or playing.
It's still pretty serious, Like once you go and say, like, hey, we're going on to band camp, it's about as serious as you can get.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all about that. Like, for us, it was there's logistical and practical things that kind of stopped, because we were playing before, doing shows, and we played South by, and like we did all the cool things that bands need to do, but there was just like I'd been doing it for years, Greg had been doing it for years, the other dudes had been doing it for years, and even the friends that we know now, like we're still doing it. It's just like there's so much that you can't do when that's your primary focus. So being able to do what we're doing and put it out in this very do-it-yourself DIY fashion, it just gives us so much more freedom to do other things, commit to jobs and relationships and schools and all that kind of crap that most musicians
everything else that goes on with it, yeah.
But whatever.
But whatever. But that's really cool. I mean, like, that's a really cool intro to you guys. But now we also have Greg to ask about. Greg, how are you? How was your past few weeks?
It's been
not leading up to the past few days, but
yeah. Well, it's been good. We've got the whole campaign we've been running, so we're just leading up to that, and every day is basically like Ryan said. Just checking out every social media site that we've got going. I just had back surgery a few weeks ago, so I've had all the time in the world to just sit around and look at our social media, mess with music, just sit around and toy with ideas and watch a lot of hockey, actually. So it's been taking up a lot of my nights.
Go Kings, go! Go Kings, go!
Shut up.
Go Kings, go! Yeah, it's been getting very intense. Like I was personally an Anaheim fan, so I was found myself not watching hockey after the first few games. But
you're in New York though, Ollie, aren't you?
I'm in New Jersey, but yes, none of it makes sense.
Oh,
I mean, either way, it still doesn't make sense. But my friends were always into hockey, and so they told me like, "Oh, get into it." And I was like, "Okay, if I'm going to get into it, I guess I'll play on nostalgia, and of course, I'll like the Mighty Ducks." So,
I like
all my friends are Flyers fans. They're all Long Island fans, but I'm Ducks, of course, Ducks.
Hey, you got to go with what you love. So
exactly. But so Greg, what was your team that you were rooting for?
I'm a Sharks fan. I'm originally from San Jose, so having them in the Stanley Cup Finals pretty huge for us right now.
Woo!
Yeah.
Very true.
So Ryan will try and get me to do. We've had some interviews and stuff, but everything kind of revolves around the Sharks games for me right now.
Oh, of course, yeah. Which I'm very glad that tonight there is no game. At least as far as I know, there's no game. And if you're missing a game,
Warriors.
I thank you so much. The Warriors game's on. Oh yeah, the game finals. Yep.
Yeah. But
I've
not
been
as
seeing
big of a
all the
basketball
memes.
fan. But
No?
it's hard to not pay attention with everybody going crazy about Steph Curry,
Very, very true.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
NBA, the fantastic sport of running up and down the court for far too long and throwing things.
Throwing the ball in a circle.
Or alcohol.
Hey, I mean that's what people do at basketball games. So hey, I mean it's pretty much around the same thing.
Yeah, any sports.
But Greg, what else do you do in your spare time? Like personal stuff? Do you knit?
Yeah, quite the knitter. No, just kidding.
Knitter, what's up?
Yeah. I spend a lot of time just playing with music. I used to be really into hiking and getting out and do all that, but just had some things that kind of stopped me from getting out and do all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So just paying a lot of attention to dedicating a lot of time to this project, and just seems like like Ryan said, we just write and write and write. So it's like, we're always sending ideas back and forth, and I swear I think we've probably got enough to fill up several albums, but realistically, it's just kind of, you got to go through that process of really picking what's worth it and then working everything out. And some of it, as musicians know, a lot of it ends up just being complete garbage. You have to write a lot of really bad songs.
Garbage. Everything we write is amazing. All the time.
Every bit of it.
We never make a mistake, ever.
We never release something that we feel is garbage. That's a better way to say it.
That's the secret.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, of course, like it does make for good. I don't want to put the word practice into play, but it adds on to your experience. There's a from what I've learned, I guess this is actually a very huge mindset. But once you put like like your 10,000 hours into your craft, like you begin to master it and stuff like that. And there are some individuals like, oh, I'll never get to that mastering point. So like with every bit of work that you do, it just adds on to your experience. And then like like you might hear something within those recordings that would be like, oh shit, like I'm a journalist, so the only thing I can say is like, oh, I didn't know my guitar could make that sound.
Right.
No, there's absolutely something to learn every day that you do something. So, every time I sit at the computer or every time, me and Greg get together and we jam, like I know, like I understand, like I've heard that too, there's a point, there's a threshold where you reach this, penultimate, state where you can just be and do whatever you want within that thing, whether it's art or writing or, music or whatever. But the one thing that they don't tell you is like the struggle that comes with always trying to be better than that, like, or do better than that, which is kind of what we have, tried to do. Like the thing we were doing before is only, what we're doing now is because of what we learned then. And now we're better than we were then, and our hope is obviously, like most musicians or artists in general, is just to progressively be better. So, yeah.
True.
Not to get all deep.
And it also, but it's also like very time consuming. But like as you guys have said, you guys do have the luxury to kind of have that time, but also to like pursue other things as well. But when you sit down and just like the two of you guys, you have so much room to just like toy around and kind of be your own bosses, and like like less hands into the cookie jar allows for more freedom.
Yeah, I mean that Greg and I were just having that conversation. Even the fact that like it's just him and I now, right? Instead of the 4-piece that we were before, instead of the 5-piece that I was in the band prior, instead of the 5-piece or the 4-piece that he was in his bands prior. Like it's just 2 people. It's just this duopoly. It's 2 people, spitting collaborative efforts, and it becomes more than the sum of its parts. But sometimes with too many people, too many hands in the cookie jar, too many cooks in the kitchen, like decisions can't be made. You can't do things in a very like constructive manner because you get bogged down. And I'm sure every musician can relate to that. And it's nice to be able to work with somebody and love somebody like me and Greg are like this, like that. So we go way back. So it's just great to have that kind of friendship and also that kind of like working relationship to be able to, still bring something new to the table every time we get together. So it's interesting.
True. And I think that makes for a perfect transition. I'm going to use that and just jump off it. We'll just jump right into the interview in case you guys haven't, begin to smell an interview coming. We'll go right in. We don't have a sponsor this month, but hey, if you want to sponsor us, we have a great package that we will show you. I'm sorry, I'm 12 years old, and I can't get through anything without sounding immature. We have a great package that we want to show you. Email me at ali@babetalk.tv, and there's real something we can discuss without sounding very sophomoric. I swear I'm professional.
I know we just met, but your package, brother, please.
Oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why Babe Talk's a thing. Anyway, but so we have a great package and we're ready to show you. So let's jump into this interview. So the way that I typically like to start off is trying to get to know the backbone as to why people jump into music. And either Ryan or Greg, you can start off, jump in and out where you guys feel comfortable. But if we can, for just bare bones, what is One Gone Thus? And since you guys are a 2-person band, it's a little bit more, I guess, complicated to explain, like, your positions in the band itself. But if you want to give a quick intro and what you guys do in the band, and we'll be in there.
Greg?
Well, I play lead guitar, and then, we both kind of go back and forth with the rhythm guitars, and it's the way that it all happens is kind of, it's really just one of us being in different areas. Like, we live in different parts of LA, and then sometimes I'm up north, so it's just you individually write it, and you feel like once you've got a solid idea, shoot it over to the other guy. So we both do full songwriting, but once it comes to production, it's just Ryan does a lot of the actual recording part where we go into his system. So I play lead guitar, rhythm guitar, and then do some singing. And then Ryan does all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly a lot of the ideas that we had, at least for this EP release. 1, 2, 3 of the songs two of the songs we co-wrote. One was Greg. 2 were ones that I had written but long time ago. And then, but that doesn't really like encapsulate what this is all about. Like, it is just one giant collaborative effort. Self and Soul we worked on, and that was an older song, and we both, that was like a mutual collaboration and everything like that. And then, like, I Disappear, that was Greg's idea entirely. He just was like, hey, I have this idea, let's flesh it out. So he sends me like his skeleton of what he had, and I kind of just try and fill in those bones with layers of muscle and tissue, and that's just all the stuff that comes from producing music. So I mean, those ideas, they start from both of us, but my main role is, but for what it's worth, I'm the lyricist for the most part. Like, I mean, because we share duties when it comes to songwriting, so that's kind of just like equal across the board. But as it is right now, I'm the primary primary lyricist and vocalist on this particular set of songs. But like the whole vibe is very much a shared experience. Like, with these songs that we had, we weren't able to get Greg. I wasn't able to get Greg on like vocals because Greg's an amazing singer in and of his own right. So I didn't get to utilize him in the way that I would for these songs. We have other songs where he is already a prominent figure on, but those are those are secret, and those are for later days. But then all the stuff that we write going forward. We're both big fans of the Receiving End of Sirens. We're both big fans of Thrice and Seosin, and that kind of collaborative effort that goes into bands like that. I've always been of the mindset like that. I want to be in a band like the Beatles, where every member is like an integral part. So when it's just the two of us, that's all it is. Like, I could not make any of this without Greg, and vice versa. We would make completely different music. So. Yeah, for my part, I do the lyrics and the programming, the digital stuff, a lot. Most of, if not like 90% of the leads are all Greg. I just fill in with rhythm guitar. We have other people come in to do different things sometimes. Like on this one, we have featured a couple of our friends who've done drums and background vocals and bass and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just work with Pro Tools. That's all I know.
I'm just a producer. I don't know what's going on.
But I am the primary vocalist on this set, on this EP, but that's not by design in and of itself. Like, the goal is to be like a dynamic duo. Like, we're I can't believe I said that. That's the goal, is to like share everything. Like, not just, the music, not just songwriting, but also lyrics. Like, I've been the primary lyricist for the past couple of years with all that we've done, but it's becoming, like, more to the point where I want to share those kind of things, because one person does one thing well, another person does another thing well. You need to be able to trade them off, and you need to be able to find your strengths and your weaknesses, and it would be nice to allow Greg to shine, like, because I know he's not only an amazing musician, but he is like really emotive person when it comes to lyrics and stuff. I'm not gonna promote your solo stuff right now, Greg. Sorry, but everybody can check it out if they want. I don't know where it is, online somewhere, but that's the goal. Somewhere. That's what I do, I guess.
But in that same fashion, the same way that he says about my vocals, I mean, he talks about his guitar playing like oh, I'm just a rhythm guitarist. The guy is probably a better lead guitarist than I am. Like, some of the stuff he does, I don't think I would be the guitar player I am without having worked with Brian. It's ridiculous. I watch him do some stuff, and I'm just like, I know we say I'm the lead guitarist, but what the hell did you just do?
That's the thing, right? Like, everybody has a different interpretation of how they do their art and their music. And when I listen to Greg's leads, I can't even fathom like how I would come up with something. I mean, just as an example, for the song that we did, Porcelain, like, it was a straight song. It was pretty, it was fine. It was good. And then he sent me these leads that were going to go over the verses, and they changed the entire tonality of the song. They made it so much more emotional, and for me, like, I just feel it. Like, the notes that he used just, like, pierced me. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And it's nothing that I would have ever thought. And I can prove it. Like, I have the older recordings that I did of my leads, and they suck. There's nothing in comparison. So when Greg says that I can blah, I'm just, whatever. I like to do stupid technical crap, but Greg is like the most emotive guitarist, if not musician, that I've ever met, and played with. So
I'm a crybaby on my guitar.
Yeah, baby. Make me cry.
It just went from like post-hardcore to emo like really fast.
Yeah, I just cry when we record.
We don't cater to one genre, Ollie. We do whatever it is.
Hey, I mean, you guys are a jack of all trades, which is fantastic. So now you have multiple different audiences. It's great. You guys are doing so well.
Yeah. We're excited. Like, you say that, and that's, it's something that we don't want to like really allude to, but even the identity that we have, genre-wise as post-hardcore, isn't really representative of what we do. It is representative to a degree of the songs on this EP, but there's so much more. Greg knows. There's so much more that we're capable of, and there's so much more that we're gonna do. So this is just the beginning for us, and it's gonna be exciting for us to go forward and release more stuff. So.
Well, it's interesting. I really think people are gonna have a real great reception with this stuff, because I think it's gonna be fresh. I mean, like, I so far on the podcast that we have, we try to showcase individuals that like have that fresh take on their respective genres, or what they're like trying to initially allude to, and you guys so far are kicking it. But we'll get into the new album soon. But at the current moment, I kind of want to get into your past and get to know you guys as musicians, as to why we should give a damn. So let's first start with what got you guys into music respectively. When?
Did you just say
I
something?
did not catch it. One more time.
I said stern but fair. Stern but fair.
Stern but fair.
Great.
Well, I actually started when I was in like 4th grade playing saxophone. You could probably hear that in our music, right? Just those middle school jazz music groups. Yeah. So I did that for like 7 years, and then I got into, in about 8th grade, I started playing guitar and realized that everybody was playing guitar. So I wanted to play in a band, so I quit doing that and started to teach myself how to play drums, and then actually ended up playing drums with a band all throughout high school and then a couple years after. And after that ended, I kind of had bigger things I wanted to do, so I ended up moving to LA, and like a creep, I found an ad that Ryan had on Craigslist of a band that was looking for members. And I sent a message because I heard some of the music and I was like, I want to work with that. So I didn't get any responses from them on the first few emails. And I actually just went to their site and purchased all the music and started learning it by myself on guitar. I was just like, all right, I'm going to be ready for if these guys ever respond, I'm going to be ready for this. So I learned the music, kept harassing them. I probably sent 4 or 5 emails before I actually got a response. And then Ryan finally responded. He's like, hey, sorry, was dealing with an ex-girlfriend type situation, so it's been busy. I was like, I don't know if he's referring to me and this is like a joke, or if he's got some real shit going on. So we finally exchanged a few emails and had an audition, and then we started that old project that we had, and now we're here.
To say it was an audition is like an understatement. I have auditioned for bands. Craig came in and knew every single part to the songs that we had, including the leads that he says, you know, he that I play better than him. He knew them perfectly, but he learned them in a completely different way, which was it blew my mind. And I was like, how does somebody know? Like, how does somebody learn that?
It's
So
not
yeah,
knowing.
yeah,
Not knowing.
not knowing.
Do it. I don't. So I taught myself guitar, so I don't know where notes are, which bugged Ryan and the other members a little bit, because I would do shit. They're like, no, it's up here. Do it over here. Like, no, I'm gonna do it right here. I like it. So just deal with it.
Yeah, it was weird. Craigslist. Do you guys have Craigslist, Raleigh, in Jersey? That's.
Oh, yes, we have Craigslist.
Yeah.
But see, yeah.
That reaction said it all. That's what you expect from it.
Ooh. Yeah. It was fun.
I mean, it's like I also live by Atlantic City, so like if you could imagine like Las Vegas but on a smaller scene, and then just throw Craigslist into that, just great times.
So One Gone Thus is
But
a product of Craigslist.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because like I've been learning that there have been a lot of bands that have utilized Craigslist before and have been very lucrative. And I think that it's like that old school mentality of like, you know, like trying to find different bands, like back in the 90s, that's what people used to do. It's like, you know, just go on to Craigslist and blind say like, hey, I'm in a band.
Yeah.
So here and there, but it still seems to be a proven method of finding of a listing.
It worked for us. It worked for me, like, very well. It worked for, you know, in 2 separate instances. So yeah, I mean, if that's anybody who wants to be in a band or doesn't know, you know, they could be in the middle of the damn of Minnesota. I don't know, anywhere, you know, like go on Craigslist. Like you'll find people. That's like, if you don't have a community, you have to build it, right? And if you don't have
So true.
If you don't have people, and that's the thing, like I was raised in the Inland Empire of Southern California, which is just like 45 minutes outside LA, which is like, you know, one of the meccas of music, right? And I could not, for the life of me, find anybody who wanted to play what I was playing or was into what I was playing, and I always like was just, you know, the outcast. Not like, you know, people were fine with me. It's just like musically, my tastes were a little different. So. It's weird where you find people and you just have to look. And if you don't have, like, you know, a lake, you dig until you find water, and then that's what you get. So that was how us came to be, I guess. I don't remember what the original question was.
How'd you get into music?
Started.
I don't know. Greg, how'd you get into music?
I just went through that whole thing.
I know.
Where have you been the last 10 minutes?
I was making sure you were done.
Hey Ryan, let's just start this out. How's your day?
It's good.
Oh damn.
Sorry. So, if anybody,
Oh, you're good.
if anybody cares,
if anyone cares.
I grew up playing guitar from the time I was like 11, and that was just like my thing. My brother was a guitarist, and he was like the major influence in my life. My family is just in general, but he was when it came to music. And then I just started getting into the punk scene, like hardcore music. Greg?
Did you hear that noise?
Yeah, it's my computer.
Oh, okay. I was like looking around
that's-
like, did I just have something going?
Sorry, I didn't know how to turn off the notifications. So Sorry.
You're really messing this whole thing up, Ryan. Get it together.
Oh, we've had far worse. This is fine.
All right, I quit. Maybe it'll stop. Anyway, I got super into hardcore punk. Like not like now hardcore punk. I got into like early '80s hardcore punk.
Okay.
from like the anarcho movements in like the UK and the DC scene, the Bad Brains, oh my god, you know, Minor Threat and SSD Control in New York, and every one of the LA hardcore bands, just, you know, every Adolescents, Black Flag, Soldiers, all of those bands. And that was where I started, like, musically. It was like, everybody was like, man, how can I get better at the guitar? And I was like, how can I get worse? That was my goal, was to play shitty and to be the shittiest guitarist possible, because that was the only way in my mind that you could make good music. So, you know, years go by. I got really, really heavily into Bad Religion, which is kind of like what led me to, you know, lyrically and a lot of things, you know, with like what I write now in regards to the lyrics, you know, are very not necessarily socially conscious, but they're just very introspective. I try to make them very personal, but not like overly emotional about, you know, I don't know, pedantic things like breakups and stuff. But I got into Bad Religion, and then somehow I transitioned from Bad Religion into like super heavy metal, and then like Metallica and Megadeth and all that kind of stuff. And then I got involved in the hardcore scene for a while. And man, I feel like I'm dating myself. Greg, how old am I? Oh. Sorry.
You're ancient.
Yeah, I'm getting old. But yeah, so like, you know, I was going to shows in Pomona in California about the time that Atreyu had released like their second album on Victory, and that's you know, my memories of being younger. So, you know, I've been around for a while doing this stuff, and then just slowly progressed over time. Like, I just became a better musician. I started, you know, studying music. I started recording. I started doing everything that I could to make myself a better musician. And in that process, it was just, you know, this is what we are doing now, and this is what I'm doing now. It's just because of that. So, but yeah, that everything with regards to the DIY ethic and the ethos behind it is just, it's really rooted in hardcore punk for me. And then the transition into post-hardcore, and it's weird. Ollie, we should talk about post-hardcore, because what the hell is happening?
Well, like I said before, I'm probably not the right person to talk to about that, because like for whatever reason, I have my co-editor-in-chief, James. He's far more into that scene than I am, and I'm more of like a person that just stares outside looking in. Like, I'll know the very generic bands that end up coming out. Like, you have your Bring Me to the Horizons, your Gavin Dances, and they're all like, you know, they work well. I have like Bring Me the Horizon stuff because I'm basic Tumblr kid, but I mean, like, I enjoy it, and like it works out well. But
no, I completely agree, and that's just the weird thing about it. Like, coming from like a traditional hardcore scene and growing up in like the hardcore scene, and then seeing what post-hardcore, like, I remember when Refused came out with The Shape of Punk to Come, and I was like, holy shit, this is like off the charts. This is like this is, you know, there be dragons out there, dude. This nobody's touching this. Nobody's done this before. And then, you know, growing up listening to bands like Poison the Well and, you know, Sprite and shit like that was post-hardcore. And then what it is now is, it's just weird to see genres that, you know, evolve, and it's cool. Like, I'm not like in any way knocking it. It's just like a really interesting question to ask, like, what happened? It's like, I'm sure the same thing people asked in the, you know, 85, when like, what happened to punk, or in, you know, 90, 96, what happened to grunge?
Yeah.
Change.
And like that I can start to like dive into, because I remember that you were saying like you know, you got really into the original like hardcore punk scene, and like one of the first bands I really came to in my mind that I've always enjoyed was Fear. And we had the transition from like Fear to like what, like 30 years later, Blink-182.
Oh yeah, I know. It's so weird, and like there's nothing wrong with it though. That's the thing. Like, people get bogged down in this idea that, like, you know, people who are really invested in that particular scene, that particular genre, whatever, they get bogged down and are like, well, you can't listen to the Damned, you can't listen to the Buzzcocks, and you can't listen to Avril Lavigne or whoever at the same time. But it's not the same. It's like, you know, this existed at a time and a place, and that's what it was. And right now what we have is our time and our place, and we're invested in that moment, this moment, right? And it's an interesting discussion to have with people who are, into, not only the scene but where it came from. And that's like the thing. It's like we all have this weird ancestral tree back to, like the Promethean, musicians back in the late '60s and the early '70s, and MC5 and the Who and shit like that, and like that's where all of this comes from, and it's just a really cool thing to think about. But I don't know. I'm losing track of what I'm going off. Where's my cat?
I mean, we're still having good discussions, and I think like the last point that I kind of wanted to like I really find funny is that I recently found myself listening to some Beach Boys. Never thought I would say that in 2016 casually, the person that I am. I'd be like, oh yeah, I casually found myself listening to the Beach Boys. And a lot of the compositions that they had and like, their shit before, like, with like their own, like, their group harmonies and like, they're kind of heavy at some points. And I'm thinking, I'm like, this is pretty much like 5 seconds of summer. Like it's so much like it's so different, but like when you strip it down and like you go throughout that ancestral tree of music, you can still see the resemblance hardcore.
Completely.
Very interesting.
Yeah, Brian Wilson is an amazing musician in general, but like the Beach Boys, they're one of those iconoclastic bands who will always represent something, and people will always strive to be that, and that's cool. Like for me, I don't know, for Greg, we each have those bands. Like for me, that's Thrice. Like I love Thrice. That is the model that I would want to, engage and endeavor into my musical career by. Is just by example of Thrice. What they've done musically, what they've done creatively, and as artists, that's what I would want. Greg, I'm sure we've talked about this.
That's my Seosin's my band.
Yeah, salesman. So I mean, like everybody has their thing, which is cool, and it's just it's weird. Those connective tissues run all the way back to the beginning of the last century. But like, it's just cool to talk about those kind of things, and it's really interesting. There was a subreddit post the other day about like in the post-hardcore subreddit. It was, what do you see happening in the scene? And I was like, this is interesting. I want to be a part of this conversation. And Greg, you may be familiar with some of these bands like Hail the Sun or Belle Noire or Chone or any of those bands. Like that whole thing has a new nomenclature. It's called swancore.
That's so interesting. What would the description be for that?
Well, okay, like that's like most titles, right? That's a nomenclature that's given by like a reviewer or something, right? But there's a record.
Of course, yeah.
There's a record company called Blue Swan Records, and they put out some really, really awesome bands. Oranges, Strawberry Girls, Belle Noire, all these kind of bands. And like Greg, you're familiar with like Closure Moscow. Like they're like one of the pioneers of this whole thing. And it's this thing on Reddit like Swancore, and I was like, what the fuck is Swancore? All these cores, like nobody is original enough to be just like, I'm gonna call my new music Jackson Pollock. I don't know. It's like nobody. everything is like something core, like Watergate.
True.
Gamergate, whatever. Like just come up with something fucking new. Like if you want to diss on something, go ahead. But it's interesting because that's like where post-hardcore is going. It's gone from bands like Pierce the Veil and stuff like that to these new bands who, like, more power to them. It's just weird how things change, and it's fun to be a part of it and watch it.
It is, because, like, that's another thing that is, too. Like, we're all, totally excluding me, but, like, everyone else is like, contributing to this new wave of everything. Like, even with their own sound, even when they, they go and try and improve on something that they've heard before, put a new spin on it, put a completely new identity to something that they had an idea of before. It's all a part of the evolution, and we're a part of it.
Yes, it's a wonderful time to be alive.
What a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. We are here, but we're still talking about your guys' band, One Gone Thus. So we'll So the discussions are great. The discussions are real, and I think the complete understanding of music definitely goes into the production as well. So I guess you've proven yourself that we can continue with the interview.
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
We now give a damn.
I mean, I know everything ever, always of ever, so that's fine.
Oh man.
Well, fantastic. So we have this new album that's dropping tomorrow, actually, which is really cool. Impermanence. So you guys said we're gonna put ourselves together. We're going to start from scratch, and we're gonna do it all DIY. Just the whole like construction of this album. We just start from the beginning and just say like, what was the idea that went behind like even the formation of the band, and then the collection of songs that are out now or tomorrow.
Greg has to answer that because Greg is the one who started this.
Well, we were in a project prior to beginning on this, and it really just came down to I had left Los Angeles for a little while. I went back up to Northern California, and we didn't stop writing though. We both continued to individually write. So the way we kind of talked earlier about sending ideas back and forth, it was, Ryan was kind of at a point, it was, obviously he could do everything by himself. So when he wrote, it was kind of just, I can do it whenever I want, but I didn't want to stop writing. I knew that he could add a lot to what I had already put together, and I loved writing over the stuff that he had already put together. So I just kind of tried to keep pushing him, and just like, hey, the same way that I did with the first band, where I was just overly persistent with getting the audition. I just kept sending him ideas. I was like, see what you can do with this, see what you can do with this, and then it came to a point where he heard one. He was just like, he almost didn't even tell me he was going to work on it. It was just a week or two later, he sends something and he goes, oh, look at this. And he had completely put everything through his system, added new parts, and it was almost like a full production thing just without vocals. And I was just like, okay, well, you kind of didn't respond to me for 2 weeks, but I guess thanks. This is awesome. So after 2 or 3 songs of doing that, I was just like, hey, why don't we I'm coming back to LA. Let's actually do this. Like, let's sit down and look at putting together an EP and actually approach this the right way. Because I think that was our biggest deterrent from continuing our last project, was the way we went about it. It was just, we were in such a rush to get into the playing live scene that it starts to hinder your writing abilities, because there's that huge urge to like, we have to have a new song ready and it's got to be done by this date, so you don't get to put the time you really want into those. So we just had a talk, and I finally got him to bite on starting the project, and that's kind of how it all came together. And we had a couple other songs, but we felt like these were the 5 strongest at the time, that we were like, you know what, let's finalize these, let's really listen to them, kind of pin down the parts we want and see what we want to tweak or whatnot, and let's do this through the whole process and see what kind of response we get.
That's crazy, and like that's really cool, especially to like hear the final results of what you guys have put out. It almost seems like kind of crazy in the sense of it's like, all right, like we're just gonna just do like just 2 people. We're gonna do it ourselves and produce it ourselves. And like if you were to hear anyone else say that to you, you would kind of think like, oh, okay, all right, you're testing this. But no, you guys you jumped both feet into the water, and like you guys start off very hardcore with your promotion of the of your social media, of your social presence, and that's not an easy thing to do whatsoever. So you guys put a lot of time into this, and the results can definitely tell.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's been like it's an arduous thing, like starting from nothing, and it's not. It's not that we necessarily started from nothing. We you both come from respective musical backgrounds and bands and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like we didn't have connections and networks in place. But to do what we wanted to do in the way that we wanted to do it, we knew that we'd be going about it in a way that our friends and other musicians wouldn't necessarily be like, all right, cool. I mean, good luck, but that kind of thing. So it was really just like, direct messaging every single individual person that we could, like, hey, we're doing this thing. You should check it out. If you don't, that's cool. But hey, like, taking on the the challenge of private messaging 3,000 plus people is really shitty. But that's what you have to do, and that's what I have always felt is like the most important part. Like, we add like a lot of people on Facebook, we add a lot of people on Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr, and we try to make a concrete connection with every single individual person if we can. Obviously, there are going to be people who don't care and they just want to like our page because we'll like theirs. Follow for a follow. But it really is. That's the groundwork today. Like in the 80s, it was go to shows, pass out flyers for upcoming venues and shows and stuff like that, and it was passing out like it was making your own labels and developing your own infrastructure and things like that. And we can do that, but in a very different way because it's all digital now, which is really nice.
Yep.
Maybe it is a hindrance in some regards to not having like a physical LP or a physical release or anything, but we've done that before. And what did we get from spending like $400 pressing 200 CDs? Nothing.
Exactly.
What do we get from releasing something for free to everybody online, regardless, in every conceivable way? We get way more out of that, I think. Personally, I think that the cost benefit kind of thing is just is way up there. So we're both excited. I know I'm excited just to, like Greg said, we're testing the water. We're seeing what the reception is going to be like. And obviously, regardless, we're going to move forward. We're going to make more music. But it's cool to see so many people excited about this in the same way that we are. It's really cool. So.
It's awesome, and like I think that you guys do have that margin for error, especially being like in the first steps of this. This is going to be the first release, and like if you guys are like like this professionally set now and still have a room for error, I don't know if there's any company that's like, all right, we're gonna have like the most beautiful like branding, and then just like have all this product just hand it out to everyone, and if everyone gets sick, well, fuck it, we'll just change it. So like you guys have like a really good place right now with an unconventional method of even putting out the music. You guys have so many different avenues and so many different options, and for such from a unique standpoint of like it's like we have the most creative freedom, we have the most margin of error at the current moment. And you're not shitheads, so like that's also like a beautiful thing as well. But I think the one thing that's gonna have to be the thanks guys. But the real test though is actually gonna have people to like your music, and I think people are definitely gonna listen to it. So we're gonna give a quick sneak peek as to what's gonna be released tomorrow. Is gonna be a song off of Impermanence, which is gonna be A Girl Who Turned to Stone. If someone wants to give a quick intro to this song, we will play it for everyone to hear to kind of get hyped up on.
Intro, Ryan. What's the intro to this one?
I'm looking at your little box, Greg. It says Greg.
I'm looking at your box, and it also says Greg. So.
A girl who.
God damn it.
It's probably the most. It's probably the most accessible commercially. Still in our minds, a quality song with, a message behind it that is, substantive and things like that. But I think people will like it. So yeah,
the most fun for me to play.
Yeah, honestly. Greg's a bit.
Fun and accessible. Who doesn't love that? All right, guys, we're gonna take a listen to this. It's gonna be A Girl Who Turned to Stone off of Impermanence, One Gone Thus.
She used to cry herself to sleep at night, and I am wondering where things went.
Party rock anthem, Selfie Selfie. I swear there are kids that would kill to even sound half as good as that. And I seriously do think once it's hit some kid's playlist, if it's placed precariously into someone's playlist and it starts making its rounds, it's going to become their album of the year. I really wholeheartedly believe that.
Oh, that is a wonderful.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys are gonna be releasing this tomorrow. You guys are gonna be promoting the fuck out of it. It's gonna be awesome. Where are people gonna be able to find it for stream?
For streaming?
For streaming, yes. Well, for streaming to start.
For streaming, it will be available on SoundCloud, Reverb Nation, Bandcamp, Pure Volume, Spotify, iHeartRadio, ... etc. All of those places and more. I don't even know how many places it's actually going to be available for streaming. Apple Music as well. But those are just all the streaming sites, and that I can think of off the top of my head. Craig, did I miss any? YouTube. Oh yeah, we all obviously YouTube. We have the actual video streams, which is pretty cool. You know, it's just not the song solely. It's also got a visual component, which is cool. Big ups to Mike Hawfort for helping us out with all of our video stuff that we did. But those are all the streaming sites. Download-wise, the place that everybody needs to go to is Bandcamp. It's really simple. It's onegonethus.bandcamp.com. The link is in our description of every single social media place that we have, and that will be up at midnight tonight. So I'm not even waiting until like 9 a.m. tomorrow, because I know we probably have some fans all over the world. So it'll be up tonight at midnight. No, I'm just kidding. It'll be up at midnight. Everything will go live at midnight from Bandcamp, SoundCloud. So it'll be downloadable from Bandcamp, it'll be downloadable from SoundCloud and Reverb Nation, all free. But at the same time, it will also be available on iTunes. It'll also be available on Amazon Music, Google Play, anywhere that you can possibly imagine it will be available. But that's really not the point. We don't want people to have to pay for this. We want people just to listen to the damn thing. So go download it, rip it off YouTube, use a CC converter. We don't care. Like, just take the music and show somebody you know who will like it or you think will like it. We put a lot of effort into this EP, but we also made it like we make the music that we'd want to hear, and there's a lot in there, and there's something for everybody. So even if everybody doesn't want to get the whole EP, like, all the songs will be available for download individually. But that's it. Just get it and share it, and let us know what you think. What we want is feedback. What we want is people to let us know what they think. If they don't like it, let us know. If they love it, if they hate it, like, we just want people to hear it. And that's the whole point of this. It's just exposure and getting us to build that audience organically. So
absolutely. Well, that's a wonderful thing. You guys are great people. I so wholeheartedly enjoyed talking to you guys. You guys seem very passionate about your stuff. You are in it for all the right reasons. The production value meets the personality that you guys have on just like a beautiful scale. And I personally cannot wait to hear what you guys have in the future and to see what else will unfold as the years progress, because it will.
Well, thank you so much, Ollie.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So
guys, I'm coughing. Sorry, excuse me. Yep, that's Babetalk, just coughing away into the sunset. So next week we're gonna have bands. I'd love to tell you what they are, but you know what? I'll tell you guys when it happens, because life happens, like we found out these past few episodes. So I do thank you guys for bearing with us. We had some severe website deficiency issues, but we luckily made it through, and we don't have issues no more. So our site's up and ready. You guys may see something about One Gone Thus tomorrow on the site, which may be cool. And you can watch this video later on the site. We have some awesome articles going back out. We may be changing our look very soon. Amazing stuff is going to be in store for all of us. And that's it. Go listen to the new release tomorrow. Oh, where else on social media will they be able to find you guys?
Facebook.com/OneGonDust, Instagram.com/OneGonDust, Twitter.com/OneGonDust. Everything OneGonDust. Just type in OneGonDust and you'll find us. There's fortunately not too many.
We didn't have problems getting any of those URLs.
Yeah, there's there's not too many other bands with the name OneGonDust, fortunately. So we're in good luck there.
Hey, I mean that's a wonderful thing to have, So it's like no issues there.
Yeah.
Some things don't have issues, and that's a great thing. So anyway, love talking with you guys. Be sure to pick up the EP tomorrow by either streaming it or downloading it. Get it from Bandcamp. Get them numbers up. Show your support for the homies. Show your support for your friends. Show your support for your pets. I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, man.
Night, everybody.